Welcome into our lives.
And welcome to the Expanders Club podcast.
We're so happy to have you.
Join us as we embark on a journey of deep exploration, soul searching, and asking the hard questions.
With the goal of truly understanding the most aligned, empowered, and purposeful versions of ourselves.
We want to live an extraordinary life, and we're willing to dig deep to find out what it takes.
Buckle up. You're about to meet a new version of yourself, an extraordinary one. Madeline, how are we?
Well, Brooke, I wish I could say your name in a longer version. You know, Brooke.
Brooklyn. You could call me Brooklyn. That's not my name, but I've been called that before.
Oh, okay. Love that. Brooklyn. I'm doing well. Today is my favorite day of the week.
Friday.
Yeah, and not just because it's Friday, but because it's swim day.
Yes. I love that for you. I love that you have that to look forward to on Fridays. So tell the people what swim day means.
Swim Club Venice Swim Crew. We meet at 6:45 a.m. We do an ocean swim. And today we had 11 people show up, which is quite good for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
good for you.
Such a good crew. This guy rocks up and he's like, "Hey, my name's Salvador. I met a guy last night at a party and he told me that you guys swim at this tower in the morning. And so I just thought I'd come out." And we're like, "You literally met a guy at a party that told you about this last night?" And we're like, "Well, welcome. You've come to the right place. Come and swim." He had no wetsuit, like no goggles, anything. He's like, "We'll be all good." We're like, "Fuck, mate, it's pretty cold out there still." He made it halfway.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And you're just so good at building community, and like building a community around swimming in the ocean at 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., whatever it is on a Friday. Interesting choice. But I love it for you.
Yeah. But you know, the things that seem the hardest and like not enjoyable at all end up being the funnest.
So
what
rewarding.
do they call that?
Yeah.
It's rewarding. It's
Yeah.
It felt good. But I will say, last night I went and watched this movie premiere called Young Woman in the Sea. And it's about this incredible woman, I forgot her name, Judy someone, from the 1930s, back when women were not allowed in sports, like God forbid swimming. And she joined like an underground swim club and learned how to swim because she was just wanted to not have to be so suppressed like most women were in that stage. Mm-hmm. And to fight for her rights, she took on the biggest challenge and swim across the English Channel, which was like, I think they measured at the time was 21 miles, which doesn't seem like that much, but the route you have to go is like 41 miles. And it took her 15 hours, but she was one of the first woman to ever do it, and faster than she beat like all the men that had done it. And it was game changing for women in sports. Like after that, it was like paved the way of being like, oh, women are capable.
I just got the chills. That's amazing. That's so yeah, that's so cool.
It's so cool. I cried the whole movie and the whole time was like, oh my gosh. Like as if I think swimming, 3/4 of a mile is hard. Now I'm like, let's go. What else can I do? How much further can I swim? It's like giving me so much inspiration.
Yeah, you're channeling her out there on Friday mornings. I love that. That's so perfect for you.
I know. It felt really good. It felt good. How are you, B?
I have had a week. Don't fully want to get into it, but my cortisol levels are high. I'm drinking saffron water to hopefully calm them. Saffron helps to lower cortisol. Hopefully 1 glass of it. There's saffron threads in here. I don't know. I should probably grind them or do something more. But yeah, and it kind of looks like urine for those of you watching on YouTube. I promise it's not. However, I told you about this, Maddie. Drinking your own urine is a thing that people are doing. It's like and I'm not on board with it, folks. Not yet. Never say never.
Not yet.
Also, if my urine was this color, I'd probably be concerned. But
it's so true.
If anyone who knows about urine therapy, hit us up, because
we want to interview them.
I'm dying to understand more about why people are drinking their own urine and putting it on their skin, and it's supposed to have all these benefits, but like, I just want to know more. So, but I'm not drinking urine. I'm drinking saffron to help my cortisol levels, because I've just had a fucking week with this like prick narcissist VC that knows how to push everyone's buttons. He is back, and he, for 2.5 days this week, created some misery. I'm done with him now, but like my nervous system is still trying to figure out how to come down from it, you know?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It is what it is. It's an experience, and it forces me to face things, that storylines, traumas, like, you know, there's I want to say there's some good in it. I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that yet. But there's going to be a learning. Yes.
What have you got out of it?
Higher purpose. Well, this time around, you know, I really have worked on a lot of stuff. The last time he really, really had a flare up was like a year ago, and it was like over the course of 2 months, and that kind of drug me down and was like the kind of final straw on the camel's back. But a lot of stuff didn't come up that had come up before, so I felt good about that. And really, the only big thing was just like rage, internal rage and anger, which is something, of course, I've been talking about in some of my therapies lately, and like something I know, like, hey, I've got some anger in me. I think it's time to not bypass it and just like face it and let it out. And so the universe was like, oh, would you like your rage to be triggered? Here you go. You know?
Wow.
So he's just someone who, the way he talks to people and the things he says, and he's like typical like gaslighting narcissist behavior, anyone who's familiar with that, but it's so triggering, and it's a real art. Like, he knows how to get under people's skin. And it didn't, to me, it's like, hey, we're dealing with a crazy person, so like a lot of it doesn't bother me, but the anger comes from like how allowing someone to speak this way to people, to myself, to the people in my company, to even in general, like, who do you think you are speaking and acting this way? Like, that's where the anger comes. And like, you could probably imagine, and probably all women have this in them, but I can trace it back to many other scenarios where I felt that way and haven't been able to speak up. So looking forward to processing that and letting go, getting this anger out of my body.
I mean, what do you do in that situation? Like, it's like, take your filthy money back. Like, I don't want you here.
Yeah, of course, legally, none of it's that easy. And like there's no out. There's no out other than selling the company, you know, having some kind of exit. Yeah. So that's an interesting element to it all.
Jesus, yeah. That's a learning. No amount of money is worth a prick.
Yeah. It essentially feels like you're selling your soul, you know, because you, in this scenario, you're just putting up with so much that you would never put up with. Like, this, if this person came into your life in any other scenario, you would be like, cool, fucking see you later, dude. Like, you're not my friend. I'm not hanging out with you. Even family members, I've been like, see you later. But I'm legally bound to him. So
sounds worse than a marriage.
Yeah, it really is, actually. And of course, I didn't see the side of him before we, you know, took his money, but whatever. It's all a learning lesson. And let me tell you, when we are done with this, I will tell everyone his name and his fund name and make sure no founder ever takes his money again.
Oh, mate, you are getting exposed. LinkedIn, your name's going to be everywhere. And
don't mess with a female founder, buddy.
You messed with the wrong bad boss bitch.
Yes. Yeah. So that's, you know, been an interesting journey. And it's actually like really interesting how it pertains to our conversation today with my Kundalini teacher and friend Tedi. And it's just gotten me back to like I'd gotten a little lazy on some of my practices and just was like a little wishy-washy lately and kind of playing with stuff or not showing up exactly how I have been historically. And it was like, nope, time to reignite, time to get back into the Kundalini flow, time to like get those practices back in order and like keep yourself on, healthy and mind, body, spirit, healthy and on track.
Oh my goodness. This conversation with Tedi inspired me. Like, I have always ripped shreds on Kundalini, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Be honest.
I think I went to one class and I resonated with what you said, B, on the west side of LA. And I was like, oh, hell no, that was weird. Walked out being like, I'm not doing that again. And, now after hearing this conversation of what Kundalini can provide and how it actually feels, I'm like, okay, I think I need to try this.
Well, it's like so many things that like at its core, it really makes a ton of sense, right? It's movement, it's somatic movement, it's breath work, it's moving energy, it's chanting, it's like using your voice. It's all of these things are so powerful. And then you put them, Kundalini puts them together in a really powerful way. And so the way Tedi does it is she does these 30-minute classes, which is like, one, just the time, 30 minutes is so approachable, right? But everything she does in it is so approachable. And it's 30 minutes of like kind of a moving meditation and somatic work and getting things out. And a connection to soul, higher self. Like it is quick and super impactful. I think the issue with Kundalini, like many of these things, like Bikram yoga, like the Catholic Church, like many of these things, is when you take these elements that are really good and people feel good and impactful and impact their life. And then you bring in humans to facilitate them and like mess it all up. So for me, and I'm sure this is similar for you, a lot of the stuff that I didn't resonate with Kundalini was like the approach.
Yeah.
And Tedi talks about it too. Like the guru, all the teachers are guru something. And it's like,
yeah,
fuck, that's fucking annoying. I don't believe in gurus. They're all dressed in these white, like the clothing and whatever, that's fine. Although it gives this like unapproachable, it's like white robes, white headdresses, like that feels unapproachable. And they're sitting on a stage above you. And like that doesn't feel aligned with what the practice is about and what's going on. Like we are all God, we are all the universe, we are all equal, like we are all equally powerful. That's not the message they're sharing.
I see. A bit like higher than, more holy than. Yeah. And then some of the characters that buy into that, like then, there is some weird culture around it. And like, again, when you trace it back to things like, and similar to things like Bikram yoga or the Catholic Church, or I'm sure a million other things, the gurus, like the main gurus, are a little shady. Like some of the people who claim to have brought this to the West, or like, there's like crazy business dealings and like, misogynistic stuff. And like, it's just like, hey, the human element comes in and totally ruins parts of it. Well, I mean, the Bikram story. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all, that's a bit fucked, isn't it? They're like taking advantage of their power and molesting people.
Yeah, then it becomes like cultish and these people become leaders. And it's like when you give a human power, it can go awry. And in a lot of these cases it does, because the actual like methods of Kundalini are so powerful. Then people give but then it's not set up to be empowering to the person. It's like they're so powerful, then you give your power away to these gurus because they're the ones leading you through it. And like, we're just not into that. And like, hey, I know you believe this, and like this is the age of the Aquarian age that we're into. Like, no one's a guru outside of us. We are our own gurus, and we are our gurus to ourselves and to no one else. And like, that's the truth. Like there's no reason for us to like give that power away to someone else.
Yeah. This is about empowering yourself, like actually feeling so alive, and you're like, oh, I have this inside of me, that you don't have to rely on anyone else. You've got yourself.
Yeah. So Teddy's approach, she removes the ego, does that. It's really, you get all the good things. And that's why, for the past year and a half, I've been I've been telling everyone that I know how impactful Kundalini has been and really has changed my life. And surprisingly, I texted her last night because she does like monthly different sets with different mantras and different themes monthly. And the first theme I ever did was the theme was miracles with her back in January 2023. Next month, June, the June theme is miracles. So I'm so in. I think you should join Mads if anyone is interested. It's a 30-minute class. It happens at 6 a.m. PST, Monday through Friday. She's doing for June. You get the recording though. So if you can't show up to class, however, I highly recommend it. If you can't show up to the class, you get the recording and can do it any time in the day. It's literally 30 minutes, so approachable, and literally miracles happened the last time I did this with her. Like miracles happened. It was insane.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay, I'm so aligned with this. Definitely getting signed up for this because I've recently learned the importance. I mean, I've always had great morning habits and routines, but I really stuck to for the last couple of weeks. I've been doing a strict morning ritual, like sitting at my altar, which I created. I have an altar.
Love it.
And at 6 a.m., lighting my candle, lighting my sage, and doing breath work. And it has it sets the tone for my day.
Yeah.
It's the discipline that you have to get out of bed every single day and go and sit at 6 a.m. and be like, okay, I've got to go through this breath work. Like, number one, sitting in cross-legged, every day adds an extra round of breath. So by the last day, I was doing 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's a long time to sit. But I was like, okay, no, Maddie, the practice is in the discipline. Like, it's in the being in this and actually committing to yourself.
The and showing
from that,
up.
I've seen myself. Yes, exactly. And I've seen myself now show up for myself in better ways from this. I've been eating better. I've been working harder. I've been just like more focused. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm proving that I can commit to myself.
Yeah, you know how much I value my morning practice, and it really started with the Kundalini. I committed to it the first month and it helped me become a morning person. Now I get up at 5:45 every day, no problem. Something I had wanted to do for decades, and I won't miss my morning routine. And mine can change every day. It rotates between a few different things, but like it's such a grounding force. It's my time to sit and think. Something Teddy says in the episode that I really loved is like the power of being still and allowing the universe to find you.
Ooh.
Which I thought was so interesting because, like, yeah, a lot of time we don't take the time to be still. Like, how can the universe find us when we're running from this thing to that thing? We're constantly distracted. Our brains are all over the place. We're not able to send clear messages. Like, if anything else, it's an opportunity to be still and allow the universe to find you.
And so you're not like constantly searching for it. You can let it come to you. And that's like, I mean, talk about way to regulate your nervous system. Like that actually slowing down, being conscious, taking that time. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So I'm really excited for everyone to listen to this. We talk about connecting to your soul, finding your purpose, becoming your own guru. Tedi is amazing. She's a lot of things. Yeah, she's a Kundalini teacher. She's a realtor. She's an influencer. She just lives a full life and always has. And she's also like really fun and funny. She's just an incredible light and magnetic person to be around.
She's a hoot. Absolute hoot. I loved this episode with you guys and it made me miss Tedi. She's such a good egg. I mean, remember when I first met her back in Good Milk days years ago when she was helping kids who were maybe recovering and at this home kids, in Malibu.
Just like, yeah, her and her sister started a company called Girl Powerful. They still do some stuff with it, which is incredible. It just speaks to her heart, but they just help young girls like hang out, gain confidence, teach them stuff. Like I'm pretty sure it was about empowering and like building confidence in young girls.
Yeah. Okay, well, she definitely did that. But then I went and met her at this house in Malibu, and there was like guys and girls, and I think they were in this house and she was helping them. Like, maybe I forgot what the kids were going through, but I just remember looking at Teddy and being like, whoa, you really care. Like, you are selfless.
Yes.
You just want to help people.
Yeah. She's incredible, and she is just really stepping into her power in that and feeling out like her full reach and full magnitude of that. And so like she's definitely one to follow and, you know, kind of check out, because she's like getting better and better every week, and like she's just kind of scraping the surface of like how powerful she's going to be.
Oh wow, always improving. Love that. Yeah. Go Teddy. Yeah.
And for, you know, now that you guys have been hanging out with us for 20 minutes, by the way, I'm Brooke.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Maddie. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, hey, if you didn't know. And, you know, we're excited to have you here. Expanders Club podcast, you may have gathered by now, was created by us to really help empower expansion, empower, you know, your journey, help make your journey easier, more relatable, maybe give you some tools, share what we're learning and what we've learned on our journey of growth, and really like kind of, you know, maximizing our potential and our light in this lifetime. And we just felt like we really wanted to share that. And, you know, we talk, as you can tell, we talk business, we talk mindfulness, we talk spirituality, we talk wellness, and Mads and I have a history. We talk shit. Yeah. We might get just talking shit to each other about things, which, you know, we keep it real, because Mads and I have known each other for a while and have seen each other through many things, and just like there's no filter anymore.
I know, I think it makes it so much better that we know each other as well as we do. So there's like certain things that we've learned about each other over the 8 years. And we've got shit on each other, you know. And it makes sense.
So much shit. Yeah, I know. What do you guys want to know? What do you want to know about Maddie? I think I have more shit on her than she does on me.
Bullshit. Brooke, I could rip into you.
I mean, a lot of my shit's been fairly public, so, you know.
Only maybe not. Late. You're only starting to let it out.
Yeah. I also tend to forget a lot of my shit too, so you probably have stuff that I'm just not recalling, so I better probably check myself.
I remember. It's all in my journal.
I'm going to need to find that journal. Well, we're here to support you, here to have fun, hopefully make this experience entertaining, enjoyable, and, you know, kind of help us along the way, help you learn some lessons, maybe the easier way than the harder way, because we've definitely had our fair share of hard lessons.
I've done it the fucking hard way.
Yes, not doing that anymore, trying not to, but if we can share things with you that help you, you know, you and the universe get in touch a little faster than we have, and, you know, have some more flow and an easier go at it, then we've served our purpose.
That's all we wish for. All right, let's get into it.
Yes.
You guys want to hear what this conversation with Brooke and Tedi? It was a good one.
Yeah, so this is Tedi Serge, my friend and amazing Kundalini teacher. You can follow her on Instagram at Tedi, Tedi Talks, Tedi Talks. If you want to join her June class, I highly recommend it. I will be there. Sounds like Madeline will be there as well. And so you'll get to see our lovely morning faces every day in June. I highly recommend it, you guys. You'll hear me say it in this episode, but her classes, and even just 1 month of them, were life-changing for me in so many ways. And it's a really good opportunity to just practice showing up and seeing what happens.
Let the universe come to you. Find you.
That's right. All right.
All right.
Let's
do it.
Yes. enjoy this one, follow us at Expanders Club on Instagram, TikTok, share this episode with a friend, leave a review, all the things that help support and help keep this going. We love and appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Tell me, how are you introducing yourself to people these days? Like, what does it sound like? You're in a room of brand new people and you're introducing Tedi.
Honestly, it is a little complicated. Just like, it is. And it truly has been, even when I was teaching in LA and I had one role. Like, always just question really always kind of irked me. And I think, okay, just not to go on a tangent because I love that, but how do I introduce myself now? I do say I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher. Yeah. And I'm in real estate. I don't like to say I'm a realtor because I'm in real estate. Like, I bought my own home. I have an Airbnb. Like, I empower my friends and family to buy real estate. And I think that just like opens up the floor. Like, maybe someone's into yoga, maybe someone's into making money, or maybe both.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I do get caught up on a local thing. Like, people think I'm a local influencer here, and they made that all up. I don't connect to that at all. But everyone, if someone's introducing me, that's how they introduce me, which I find interesting.
It's so interesting. You know, I think you and I connect. So I think we connected early on because we both saw this like eagerness to grow and like this seeker mentality. And also, honestly, I think one thing I connected to with you is like, you were and are so funny that I was like, okay, anyone who's that funny has had some serious trauma, and probably been through some shit, most likely. And like, I can connect and like trust and feel safe around this person. But I think we're both on this journey of evolving so quickly that it's hard not to it's hard for people around us to like understand where we are, right? And then it's hard not to get annoyed that they don't see it or don't understand or are still stuck on this version of us that we feel so removed from.
That's true. So another question I get beyond like, what do you do like for a living, is what do you do in your day? And I'm like, what do you do in your day? I've been asked that so many times. Like, what do you do? Like, what are you doing? It might seem, I guess, online that I have a lot of freedom with my time, and I do.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, you know, like, get up and I do sadhana and I teach right, you know, when my feet hit the floor. So I already feel accomplished because,
right.
Don't you? I mean, after a morning, it's like, I checked a huge box. I filled my cup. The rest of the day can just kind of happen, and I'm going to be happy with whatever comes out. So it's like it's funny though. Like, I think it's a different like dimension that people aren't even asking that question to not understand. Like, there doesn't have to be all these limits that we put on ourselves or these titles.
Yes. And that's a huge thing. I mean, it's hard to break through that. And that's something that has taken me years really with, you know, work, of like having this traditional work day of like, I need to sit down at my computer or I'm not productive. Where what I've actually found recently, and it makes sense and knew this all along, for my role of like being the visionary and handling big picture stuff, the more I'm at my computer, actually the less productive I am on those things. And I might be answering every single email and getting back to every person, but most of that shit doesn't really matter. It's me going out for a walk or, you know, going out to meet with someone and having those interactions that actually generates the creativity and the vision and the big ideas that make the difference.
Definitely. I mean, it's like you kind of open up your computer and it's just I get like stuck there. Like, I'm supposed to work now.
Yes.
Okay. Like what I'm supposed to do something, so creativity just goes whoosh. And
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to 20 brands and talk about my retreat or whatever. And I don't feel called to do that. But if I'm sitting even just 20 feet away in the backyard in a chair on my phone, I can peck out an email.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
Yeah.
it's just interesting, and it's good awareness that we both have.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, like, can you explain Kundalini? Because I think it's probably, like, for most people, it's like a less understood form of yoga. In my experience, it's been less approachable. However, as someone who's been diehard into Kundalini for the last year and a half, thanks to you, also someone who, and I do your classes almost every day, but I would never go to a Kundalini studio or temple or whatever it's called. I would never go to one and actually do classes, even though I would tell you Kundalini is one of my number one most important practices in my day to day. But it's thanks to
Why wouldn't
you.
you go? Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I mean, your approach to it is so different. It's so different and so accessible. And I've done Kundalini in the past, and something about it always drew me in. Like the concept of it all made sense. I'd go to these classes, at studios in LA on the West Side, and I'd leave feeling great, but I never really enjoyed the experience or related to the experience. And no judgment. This just is not, doesn't relate to me. Like, I didn't feel good about it. Everyone's wearing white. There's white, a lot of like white headdresses. It's sometimes hours. The classes can be out. Like, no one's paying. You go to a gym and you go to class and it's like 1 hour on the dot. No one's paying attention to the time. And you're like, wait a minute, I just came out of there. It's been 2 hours. I had places to be. And there's a lot of like, there's even like, even the language. And I know this is, I like resonate with some of this, but like, okay, come practice at 3 a.m. because for 3 hours, because that's how you get closer to God. And there's just a checklist of things for me that was like, I feel like this is a powerful type of yoga, but the way it's being presented doesn't resonate with me and I can't get into it. Also, the guru thing. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, but that all the teachers are called guru. Mm-hmm. That, and I'm sure there's a reason for that, but that never sat well with me either.
Yeah. I'm still Tedi Serge,
Yes.
like, and I have a Kundalini name, but it's like, so what?
Yeah.
That's an ego thing. It's a power trip. And honestly, maybe not. Maybe there's some teacher out there that feels really disconnected from their past self, and this is who they want to be and who they are, and this is their new beginning. Like, I don't want to take that away from anybody.
Right.
But I also think that those feelings are valid when you walk into some of those studios. I also think sometimes I was waiting on the teacher for 20 minutes to start class. Like, it's like too airy. No one's grounded. And I feel like I feel like from you and from a lot of other people in our group, I'm a grounding force.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that I hold the space. And I'm honestly practicing with you. I'm your peer. I'm not sitting up on a podium. In Kundalini class, you see that. We're going to sit higher than the students because we're better, we're more enlightened, or whatever. I'm not going to go through my life thinking that, because it's not true. And it goes totally against everything we're teaching. Yes. We're all one, but I'm better than you. That's weird.
Yes. And that's where it's been so interesting to me that you found your way to Kundalini, because you are so grounded. You have this practicality to you. You are so approachable. So how did that happen? How did you find Kundalini?
Yes.
And like,
I will back up 1 second and tell you what I believe Kundalini is, because you did ask me that.
Yeah.
Kundalini is energy in our body that lies dormant at the base of the spine. And in our 2024 world, we're all disconnected from ourselves, unfortunately, through technology, through how we're sitting most of the day, how we're in the car driving to and from. on our phones, hunched over. And so Kundalini energy, the point is to let it rise up through all the chakras, to connect you to the heaven and connect to your highest self. Because once you're in alignment with your highest self, then you feel good. Like, it's that simple.
Yes.
I don't even think that Kundalini, that is the energy center, but Kundalini, the practice, even Yogi Bhajan, who brought this practice to the West, and a lot of people don't like him, and that's great. But he even said, like, trying to define Kundalini yoga it's not possible, because it is a feeling. It is that feeling after class. It's that connection to self. It's that breath. It's that you're high on your own life.
Yes.
Sitting in your living room.
Yes.
You know, it's that feeling of ecstasy and that connection to God. And it's just, that's what Kundalini is to me.
I don't think I've ever heard you describe it, but that is exactly how I feel every morning. Yeah. It's this connection to self. And you can call it your higher self or your true self, but it's like, for me, it's a recentering every morning, and no matter how off I feel, I can come to the mat, and your classes are 30 minutes, which is incredible and so approachable. Show up, you feel grounded, you get moving, you feel the energy moving. And I have had breakthrough moments in your classes. And it all comes back. And of course, there's things that you say and do that trigger things and you can feel the energy, but it does come back to that connection to higher self and that reminder of like, hey, it's all right there the whole time. You just have to connect to it.
Yeah. It's just that coming home to you. It exists in you. It's all your wisdom. It's all your DNA. It's all your cells. It's everything. And we're always seeking for the answers outside of us. And that's frustrating, but that's what the world tells us to do. And it's how we grew up. And we got, these are ancient technologies and practices that have been here since the beginning of time. And like you mentioned at the beginning, Kundalini isn't something that most people even know exists as a thing to practice. And definitely not in yoga. You don't even see it in most yoga studios. Yeah, and if you do, there's 3 people in class, not 30.
Exactly.
So Kundalini found me is what I would say. You asked me how.
Yeah.
Because I was working at the front desk of a gym. I think I was 24 and just working at the desk of a gym, and I was taking a minute away from kids because I always worked with kids, and I don't know why I would think that working with adults is better, because it's definitely not. But this awesome, rad woman from Croatia named Saska Neal walked in and was like, she was in her flowy goddess era, still is. And she's like, darling, just leave the front desk and come to my class. And that's how it all started. And I was like, I can't leave the front desk. Like, I'm working, but maybe on Wednesday I'll come. And then Wednesday I went, and I practiced 5 days a week with her in person. And it changed my life.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
But I wasn't seeking it, right? And that's kind of interesting in itself, because now it's my lifestyle, and I wasn't like Googling how to feel better or how to find connection to self, or I don't think at 24 I even knew any of this kind of conversation. I'm not sure.
So what did you feel from it that kept you going back to class?
I'm a crier, but that emotions came up. It wasn't like Barry's boot camp or weightlifting, and I love all that stuff too, but it was like a space to just be myself, and the teacher just held the space, and you could just let it out.
Yeah,
and through all the movements and breath, it's like things come up, and it's things you don't even think about. Like, you can think it's like whatever, your parents divorced, or someone didn't do X, Y, and Z for you, or whatever you think your trauma is. And it probably is, but it's like, there's so much ancestral stuff and things we don't even know about that I believe in Kundalini, comes to the surface, and then we can just shed it. We don't have to name it. We don't have to connect to it, but it can just get off of us, because life's too short to stick into this whole cycle of repetition of things that aren't serving us.
Yeah, I love that. And that has been absolutely my experience in your classes. And I think that's what started me on my journey in the first place, of I started going to took myself to traditional therapy because that's all I knew living in Buffalo, New York, when I was 24. But around the idea of like, hey, there's some shit like weighing me down that I've been through that like I do not want this to impact the rest of my life. And that obviously led to, traditional therapy. Pretty quickly, I was like, this is not going to work. And luckily, I moved to LA where there's all kinds of weird, interesting things happening and that I got to dabble in. And so I've dabbled and zigged and zagged throughout the years, but I didn't even know you were into Kundalini, I don't think. I knew you through your other business. I knew you through the wellness space. I knew you are a bit of an influencer, whether you relate to that or not. And so knew you through that. And then January 2023.
Yes.
Which was the what I thought was going to be the end of a very difficult time for me, but turned out to be just the middle of it. You launched a 40-day program. And I don't know why, something you said just resonated. And I was in such a lost place and just needed something to like ground me. And showing up for those 40 days, I think I did cry every single day. And I think it was like the practice we were doing was, and you could say it better, but the theme was like miracles.
Yeah, right? It was miracles. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was in a place where that was probably the word that I was like, fuck, I need some miracles.
It was bringing miracles. It was bringing miracles to the present moment.
Yes.
Like, like not waiting on it. And I feel like sometimes with your brand, like you've had to feel like you're waiting.
Yes.
So that's probably what was like, now I want something now. I've done all this hard work. I'm ready.
No, Teddy, I needed it then. We were going to go out of business. We were running out of money. I was trying to fundraise during the holidays. I had a bunch of scenarios where people just like kicked me while I was down through that. And I felt so alone and scared and was like, okay, I have days. To produce a fucking miracle that is $2 million. And I have no real leads, nowhere like that it's coming from. And I showed up to class every day, 6 a.m., 30 minutes, got some really incredible smaller, what seemed at the time smaller benefits from it. Like my breathing changed. Some of the exercises you do help my pelvic floor, which was like not in good shape after having a baby. I conquered breath of fire, which like felt like a huge win. I became a morning person. I now get up at, whether I'm like showing up for a live class or not, I now get up at 5:45 a.m. every day. And that has changed my life, having that time in the morning to myself. Fucking miracles happened. Real miracles. I got the $2 million out of nowhere. There's nowhere to trace how some of these people who brought me money came. They just showed up in my inbox. $2 million closed by the time we were done with our 40 days. And our biggest client came and like made a bunch of promises for some big stuff. Like the things that happened were just like, oh shit, when you show up and can connect to yourself, and as you described it, your higher self, like, and just like center yourself, you are in constant conversation with the universe, actually. And miracles can come, and they can come quickly. And like the $2 million is just like, I know it's such a human example, right? But I got an email from someone that I had no idea who they were in response to a mass email that I sent out to people that I knew that gave us half of our round.
It's amazing. And then it gives you hope. Like, it's like, I feel like coming to your mat in the morning or any time of the day to practice Kundalini, you're still, right? Like that's in the practice, is like being still. And I feel like the universe can actually find you sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if you're just running around and you're in the hustle culture, which we're both guilty of playing that game, and sometimes it'll come up in us again, and that's okay. But when you really need help, the answer is stillness. And that is corny. And I know sounds so basic, but that is why you got that money, because you came home to yourself and you sat there and you let yourself be a magnet for the good, and it came.
Yeah.
You just, like, I don't know why, like, humans decided to chase. Like, we decided to chase it. Let's go, and that, I mean, it made us debilitated. It's making us sick.
Yeah.
And so, like, how people, like I said at the beginning, like, ask me, like, what do I do in my day? It's like, well, I don't really know that you need to know that, because it's not that much. It's not that much, but I get done probably more than you, because it's very intentional, and I am a magnet in the universe because I practice Kundalini.
Yes.
And right now, I'm much healthier mentally, physically, my soul energy, even than when we started that miracle journey.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my life's changed because of it, and like even holding the class for you guys, but it's for myself as well, not in a selfish way, but it's
right.
Like, I can't lose this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all feel your growth as well. And it's like the practice that you share is just really empowering. And I think maybe that's the word that I haven't felt in Kundalini classes before. That is so different with your practice. It is so empowering. The way you approach it, the way you even set us up for, like, hey, this, 30 or 40 days, this is what this set is all about. And then the language that you use throughout the set to help remind us of our power and bring us back to our power. It's such a gift that you have, and it's something I'm so grateful for. And like the daily mantra, like that's now ingrained in me, whether I'm with you doing a class or not. Like a daily, how did I go through my life without having a daily mantra, to ground me back into? And there's so many little things. There's so many little things in it that is incredible. There's something that you say, and I don't know why it's escaping me right now, but there's something that you say every class that I want to ask you what it means to you.
Okay.
And like, why is it?
Am I a mind reader?
Read my mind. I know you know what it is. It's
like at the end of class?
Yeah, the truth.
Yeah. So I say in this class, Satnam, the truth is your identity. And I say, and that's this next couple lines is from me. And I say, live it, be it, speak it. And I think it's really important.
Yes. It's taken me a year to embody that and like discover what it means for me. But what does it mean to you?
Living in the
truth is your identity. Yeah.
I think that the truth, anytime we don't speak the truth, or you misstep, or you go to that party you didn't want to go to, or you work with that client that you knew better, that you just did something that you were like, why am I doing this? Why am I people pleasing? It's that icky feeling that we can all avoid by being in our truth. And it takes confidence, and it does take empowerment, and it does take saying no to people and experiences and offers. But being in your truth, it just sets you free. It's freedom. It is true freedom to not have any regret the next day, the next minute. You're just like, oh, like you're truly living for you. You're living in the Satnam. The truth is your identity. And beyond like the person or me, I feel like the truth, like this is our throat chakra, and this is where the truth is spoken.
Yeah.
But the truth is coming all the way up from our Kundalini. And if we're not in alignment, we're doing weird things. We're dating the wrong people. We're sleeping with people. We're drinking. We're doing all these things because we are so out of balance from our truth that we seek outside fulfillment from other people or desserts. I was into desserts for a while. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like all that outside validation just goes away when you care about yourself for once, and you do the work to get there. And I feel like even day one on a Kundalini journey will make you move miles at like full blown speed ahead. Like you just say, hey, God, hey, universe, I'm ready. And things will happen for you. And you will see in that day how much more ease there is in your life, in your body, in your thoughts, in your confidence. So that's the Satnam to me, is like just living in a place of peace because you made the right decisions for yourself and ultimately your family and like the people around.
Yeah.
You know, it's a ripple effect. If I'm not being truthful to myself, it's going to affect people. It's going to affect my sister and my boyfriend and my mom, and it's going to affect my career, all the things.
And I think that's such a centering truth. Like, if you can't do it for yourself, maybe to start, like, think about the ripple effect, right? Because a lot of times we can show up and do things for other people before we can do them for ourselves.
That is very true. And I've seen that a lot in classes, especially in person, especially for mothers, honestly. They want to feel better, to be a better mom or a better partner, whatever it is. And that's okay. You know, it's the first step.
Yeah.
And I'm not about shaming. If anyone ever, like any yoga teacher that makes you feel bad about how you live, like drink the tequila, like do your thing, eat pizza. I don't care. Like anyone telling you what to do and then making you feel bad because you're not doing it their way or how they live their life, that's not a Satnam living experience, in my opinion. You know, and that's true. It's like we build this container and this beautiful vessel for ourselves. And in that container, I believe, should be no judgment to others, right? It's like, worry about yourself. Like, I don't know why I would care what other people are putting in their bodies or doing. Yeah, it could be a bummer, but it's like, it's not my reality and it's not my destiny. So I'm not going to judge them for that.
I think we see so much judgment on the spiritual journey, and it's important to, you know, I've had moments where I've caught myself too. But when you're in judgment, like, you have to question how enlightened you really are. You know, and along my path, what I've discovered for myself about those things like alcohol and certain foods is that they just kind of get in the way. They slow down my growth. They're a distraction. And for me personally, I'm just committed to getting rid of distractions for myself, for my own journey, to maximize the, you know, maximize the speed, maximize my intuition, and maximize is like a aggressive word, but like, I just want to show up the best I can every day. And so for me, it was like, okay, it's easy to cut out those things that aren't, and it's not perfect, but it's easy to cut out a lot of those things then that would get in the way.
Yeah, no, and I'm in the same place as you. And I think maximizing is great because we are only this person this time. You know, yes, maybe the soul comes back, but you're only Brooke Harris right now. You know, like you don't get to play this game again in this world as we are now. So it's like, yeah, I value myself enough to know that, yeah, drinking and sugar and all the things that we know do, you know, make our path a little slower and sluggish, and there's guilt and all the things, and you might even die sooner. Like, it's like, do you want to die? No. Like, it's not serious. But I'm just saying, like, as a yoga teacher, I want people to know everyone's welcome in my class at any stage of where they are. Anybody. This is not a flexibility contest. This is not a sports bra and six-pack thing. You know, like, I just have seen all that. And I guess I felt like pretty shitty about it. So it's like, I'm creating the space that's like, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Even if I'm getting a six pack because I am working out.
Yeah, girl. You look amazing, by the way.
It's not because you can't come. You can come.
Right. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Yeah. I think it's incredible, and it's so important. And, you know, going back to something you said, it triggered me to want to ask you, one, what do you think your soul's purpose is.
I do think to teach Kundalini in this way, like even my mentor is very traditional in how she teaches, and most Kundalini, I guess you would say, if you are teaching Kundalini in a studio, it's probably expected to be taught in a certain way from the book. And I do teach like that. I would say probably 80%. But then there's 20% where I can just be me. Sometimes I'll play rock and roll music and just like,
yes,
you just
I love that.
You just have to like live a little.
Yes.
Like, where's this rigidness? I'm sorry, I don't believe that like being rigid and like so devoted in a way that doesn't feel authentic to a woman of 2024. Like,
yeah.
I just,
yeah.
I can't.
Yes.
But
it excites me when we're in a part where you then play like a rock song or like some kind of like non-Kundalini song. It like amps me up. I'm like, fuck yes. It makes it so it just like adds this fun little element, and like a lot of times it makes me like move my body in a little bit different of a way, and it's really energizing, and it just feels so true to you also that it's an example to the rest of it. It's like a tiny example, whether we know it or not in the moment, to just own our own shit also, and like fully own our own expression. And so I love that.
I do too. And it's fun. And I say that a lot ending classes, like, go have fun. Like, geez,
Yes.
everybody, please. But yeah, I mean, I do think I'm supposed to teach Kundalini. I mean, I like my human jobs too, but I think it's Kundalini, like maybe just showing people there's a way to be spiritual and have all the things you want and live in reality, and like build a big, beautiful life without being detached from who I am at my core. And that's a yogi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not being like afraid. Because like you said, like in LA, it's like, I didn't tell people I practiced yoga. Probably no one really asked me either. Hey everyone, I just want to let you know I just got home from Kundalini class. Like, I don't know. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't where I am today.
Yeah. Did moving out of LA and you moved to Boise, and how long have you been in Boise now?
3 years.
3 years. Wow. Did that like open up anything for you? Did that like open up the ability to kind of change your persona a bit or step into the persona that you really wanted to be, like being in a whole new city with new people?
Yeah, it did. It's a blessing. There's always, there's always something with any city or where you live. But what I have realized in Boise, and it gave me the space to just start over, reinvent, and not like in a theatrical way, but just the things that in LA, like I was taking care of a lot of really wealthy people's children and their lives and like worrying about other people's happiness and self-esteem before my own, just being a service person. And I still get to be that now.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the guts to do this. Like I was in Kundalini school there and everything, but I never it was like you said, I was kind of private about it, or like I'd share, but it just wasn't the forefront of my life. And here it's kind of that slowdown that we talked about, like coming back to your mat. I feel like I'm in a slower paced world that a lot of answers can come to me and a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. I hate the politics, man, but I am grateful, and someone asked me to teach, which is the blessing. And again, Saskia came and found me at the front desk. I was getting a facial. This girl said, well, why don't you teach a Kundalini class here? It's like all these little signals from the universe.
Yes.
Giving myself permission to go.
What has been your relationship listening to those signals from the universe?
Oh, I listen. That is what I do. I love to listen. I do, because like that's my truth. If God's gonna knock on my door and say, go teach this, or go do that, or hey, Teddy, you should actually not quit real estate and you really should go for it this year. Like, it's like those feelings aren't just me. It's like it's my purpose. It's coming up and I have to answer the call. I'm not scared to answer the call.
Yes.
And I think in LA, I don't know that I could hear the answers as much just because
so
of the chaos.
Loud here. It's so loud.
Mm-hmm. And I guess in my human design, apparently, like my spleen is open, so I can really just like feel everyone's stuff. And imagine like feeling everyone's stuff in LA. There's so much pain and hurt and sadness.
Yeah.
I had to go. I really hope one day maybe I can have a beach house or something. It could be a Kundalini mega mansion.
I love that. You can and will. And I think there's a time and a place for LA, right? Like there's something about the energy of LA that's really invigorating as well. Like when we left and did a year and a half in Napa, I really missed this like forward moving energy that just is LA. Everyone's pushing, moving, forward seeking, right? But that can be exhausting, especially when you're like, oh no, I just want to be right here for a little bit. I don't want to keep pushing and moving forward. And so I think there's a time and a place, and definitely probably a different version of us that it served really well that led us both to this version of ourselves.
Oh, I'm so much more like savvy and smarter, and I can get shit done, and I've seen beautiful spaces that people have no idea exist. Like it's just like I love LA. I mean, I was born there. It's like that is who I am. I don't need to be in LA to be an Angelino. I don't.
Yeah.
Like
I love that.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I'll be back in a couple weeks for a wedding, and I will be glad to leave 3 days later, honestly, because that energy is so dense. It is so dense, and I'm actually curious though, because I'm sober now, and I've never been sober there, what I'm going to feel like. Because normally when I visit or just lived, I was drinking bottles of rosé at the beach or at the bungalow, like doing whatever. So I am actually curious.
I can't even picture you at the bungalow these days. I've never been.
Well, number one, I'm way too old for that. But number two, I lived at the bungalow. I don't think maybe they did, but I was a partier. I partied. Not drugs, never drugs, but I loved my alcohol, man. That was fun for me for a minute.
I think I got really lucky that my party phase was early, like 19, kind of by the time I was 21, 22, I was over it, And
I think for you.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing that I made it out alive, honestly. Like I was kidnapped once or got into a stranger's car. I've had some situations that I'm like, God, I pray that my daughter's more well behaved than I was. But definitely feel lucky that I got that out of the way to a point where I was like, okay, this is boring. I'm over it. So.
Well, that's amazing because I drank from 17 to 37. So that's real. But you know what? Now that I don't, and I'm not working the steps, I never felt like that. There was just something different. I don't know what that is. And it's not a judgment. I just don't get it. It's like, if you want to stop.
Stop. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard for me to understand too. I don't have an addictive person. I've never felt addicted to anything. And I feel really, really blessed for that. But my husband has addiction on his side of the family and quite a bit of it. And it's been really interesting to see because I had that perspective too, just stop. But I don't know. They say it's a
disease. So it's a disease. I'll listen to that.
I mean, look, our souls come here knowing what they're doing, right? All souls are on a journey. I don't know why some of us get to have this different potentially opportunity to have an elevated or a higher vibration journey in this lifetime. I don't know, maybe it's good karma. Maybe it's just like we've been here so many times that it's like we've learned all of our lessons. But I think this like loops back to that judgment conversation that you brought up earlier of like not judging anyone in what stage they're in when they come into yoga. And on my journey, I found that it's so important to let go of the judgment, because there's expansiveness in every single moment, in every interaction. And sometimes it's the interaction with someone that is on maybe a different level, whether it's a level of yoga or a different vibration than you. A lot of times it's those interactions that you learn the most, good or bad, right? So this idea of like, only spending time with people at the same level as you spiritually or whatever areas of your life, I think that you then really miss out on a lot of opportunity to learn and grow.
I think it's really hard. Like if I'm looking to find a replica of myself, I'll be alone searching forever. Right. But also, it's that shadow. I think it's that shadow work too. When you see those people and they bother you, but they didn't really even do anything. You're like, why do I care?
Yes.
Like why do I care?
Such an important question, the whys that they lead to. If you can go down that path, there's so much discovery and growth in asking why. That's kind of the journey I've been on lately, is like, okay, I'm feeling triggered, or I feel, my voice that's not my higher voice, like shutting something down, or I feel jealousy or less than, like, okay, why? And that goes back to what you said about creating space for silence. And something that definitely the Kundalini practice has helped me with is like hearing and recognizing those things as they come up, and then having the ability to ask why, and then listen for the answer as well, so that I can dig into and face that.
Have you noticed when you are deep in a practice, or we're doing a 30-day challenge, 40-day challenge, or you just have happened to practice yoga in the morning, that things don't irk you as much? Have you noticed anything about that? Or those people, those like little gremlins don't find you?
Absolutely. It's been life-changing in so many ways, but the way it changes the flow of your day, how you're able to show up, how you're able to listen, how I show up for my husband and my daughter, how I show up in work, the things that do or don't bother me. Yes. As you know, Saturdays at my house are dadder days. So my husband takes my daughter so that I can sleep in. And well, yes, like it feels good to sleep in. I don't get to have my morning routine, and I am for sure more irritable those days because I haven't had my morning routine. So definitely.
Interesting. Well, that's a really good case study right there. The dadder days, which could and should feel a certain way, but then Mama didn't do her morning routine.
Yes.
That sets you up for success. Because like you don't want to be edgy with your family. You don't want to do that. So, do you practice later or before bed?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll do, or I'll just like ground myself into like commit to being present, and that helps, and like remind myself like, hey, there's, a lot of it is like healing my relationship with time. Okay, now I've slept in, now there's not enough time to get the things done that I want to do for the day. Like now, there's just those stories that we tell ourselves that when you get to center in the morning, those stories don't chime in. So it's just like pulling in other practices that maybe are a little bit quicker to remind me like, okay, nope, not going down that rabbit hole today.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Kundalini is amazing. But another thing that I feel has really helped me is being outside, like nature.
Yes.
I think if you're not liking what Brooke and I are talking about, it's just like, that's not for me. Not yet, maybe. Please go outside and get sunshine on your face.
Yes.
Like, please take your shoes off and walk on the earth. That's going to reset you, just like pretty much like a yoga class. And like, but then if you're brave enough to do Kundalini and be a nature girl, partnering that, that's who you're born to be. That's her.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you need it. You need the elements. You need earth. You need that vibration. We're a vibration. We're a frequency. If we get dulled and cold, we're lost.
Yeah. And you want to believe in miracles, walk outside and open your eyes. There's like the flowers are a miracle. Like the animals, even I live in a residential neighborhood. I crave nature. And what I crave is like being out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, but I don't get that. So I walk around my neighborhood and seek like cool things in nature. And I'm just blown away by the things you can see in your neighborhood. Giant snails crawling, the squirrels chasing each other, like different birds, the different flowers that people have growing in their yards. Like it just like takes you out of your head and allows you to be in the moment and appreciate the little things in life. And you're just like, oh shit, we are literally living in a miracle on a planet in this giant galaxy that is the only planet that can sustain this type of life. Like how fucking miraculous is that? That's crazy. That is crazy.
Crazy, and it's beautiful. And my wish for everyone is that they just can figure it out and be happy.
Yeah. I love that. What has,
it's sad to see your friends depressed, or when you go through that, or it's just like sad to see someone not show up for themselves.
And that is, it's hard. It's hard to see, because that is what it comes down to. And that's what I realized for myself that year. That was so hard for me that I started your Kundalini practice and did every time you had one. So for those listening, Tedi breaks it down into, there will be like a 40-day session, and then, maybe around something with the moon or something else, there'll be another 30-day session or 2 weeks. And so my experience going through those sessions has just, like I said before, it has been incredibly life-changing and given me such a tool and such a centering to come back to. But I can imagine for you, someone who is on this journey at such a rapid pace, and I feel like I am as well, like how, and you obviously have so much emotion and so much love behind it all, and so much love for everyone who joins your classes. Like, how do you show up in regular life that's not in class with family or friends that aren't ready to be on this growth journey, when you can see, for us and for me on that Kundalini journey, it allowed me to show up. It allowed me to show up for 40 days for myself. And then I was like, oh shit, look what happens when I show up for myself. What other ways can I show up for myself? For my entire life, I've wanted to be a morning person. Now I'm a morning person. Now I can show up for myself and have 2 hours before my kid gets up, show up for myself for 2 freaking hours, because I started that Kundalini class. And that is the key. And how do you manage life when you see people around you not showing up for themselves? Because I'm struggling with that. Like, I want to shake people and be like, all you have to do is fucking show up. All you have to do is show up. I promise you. And it leads to so many things. And I'm not a Kundalini teacher. I'm not living and breathing it as much as you are necessarily. So how do you interact with the people in your lives that aren't able to do that for themselves?
I think that what we're doing is the answer. I think by us showing up, we're inspiring and like planting seeds everywhere for people to have the opportunity, or give them the permission to change and grow.
Yeah.
And also, I invite people that I wouldn't even I have a detachment. You come or you don't come.
Yeah.
It's not personal. That's your life, man. But even like Tommy, my partner, I just always invite him. I always invite him to my classes. He doesn't come to all of them. He's come to some. But it's like, and then the music's on in the house, our Kundalini songs, and like prayer. The other day I was taking Guru Singh's class on TV, and he sat with me. It's just like, it's just an open invitation. It's like, like I hope you figure it out, but I have to worry about myself. And I think that as leaders, we really do. And that morning practice is how we worry about ourselves and we take care of ourselves. Because if I don't do that, trust me, and I lived it in my 20s, I cared about everybody else. Everyone else. Like, everyone's got to be okay. Is mom okay? Is Sonia okay? Is everyone okay? And it just, you get lost.
Yes.
So it's like, I think it's that. I think it's the invitation to be a part of it. And I mean it. Like, you're invited, like anybody. If someone can't pay, tell me. Tell me you can't pay. Come.
Yeah.
You know, I'll send you the recordings, whatever. It's just like, if you are curious, reach out to whoever it is, whatever modality. If you see so many people in LA, like, were so nice to me and gave me things like all the time because I asked.
Yeah. That's another thing.
People don't like have the guts to ask, but when you do, people want to help. People want to help you.
People do. And as people who have helped people, it's like, yes, like that actually it's a gift to be able to help someone, to share something that you've learned, or, you know, pass something on and help someone. I've learned that through my founder journey. But I think you are just, you know, even when you didn't feel like this, I know years ago, but so much now, you are just living by example, and you always have been such a great example for me. I've always felt this authenticity from you, and as you've grown, just even more so, and the more you being more comfortable in your what is very true to you, and it is so empowering for other people to see you living authentically. Empowers everyone around you to do the same, gives them permission.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself, honestly.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too, my friend. One last question.
Yeah.
What has been like an aha or maybe the most expansive moment for you on your journey?
That everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, fuck. That's
it. I mean,
it's when you say it, you can feel it.
I can't live in fear that I don't have the answers. I don't have enough. I don't have enough time. No, it's going to be okay. And trust it.
Dude, it's so the truth. And when you say it, I feel it in your heart. I feel it in my heart. And like, I know. And yet we need these constant reminders every day to bring us back to that. Like, everything really is going to be okay.
And we're just going to die. So it's like.
And like, maybe go to our home planets.
It's not that serious. Like, it is, like, of course you want to take care of yourself and your family and pay your bills on time and all the things we have to do, but there's an end to this journey. So please just like live freely, live for yourself, enjoy it. Put on your favorite songs, be outside, like skip the computer hour, like, and don't have the guilt. Like, that's what I've realized in the last 6 months about myself. I have been shedding the guilt, and it has literally helped me shed pounds off my body, shed energetically. If I don't go to F45 and work out, I say, okay.
No big deal.
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I will try tomorrow because I do feel good but I'm not going to sit here for 8 hours and just be mad at myself. Like, or it's like, get the hell up, Teddy, and go now. Like, it's like, but it's like, our minds are so powerful and they design our lives. And we have to have a relationship with all of our being so that we are thinking the right thoughts to create the reality.
Guilt. Yeah, shedding the guilt and labeling things as good and bad is definitely, I think, an important exercise. And not taking life so seriously because, you know, in hindsight, it has always worked out. So why wouldn't that be the truth for the future? You know, even the things that have seemed like the hardest moments, like, always lead to it's always better on the other side.
I trust that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but it's like, those are the things, the uncontrollables that I can't worry about because I have no control. So why would I waste my precious, precious time.
Yes, the energy suck, the freedom, and this is again something my morning practice in Kundalini has brought me, the freedom to live in certainty and the flow that brings is, and it takes work. It is not perfect by any means, to know that, like, you know, no matter what, it's all going to be good. Like, the universe has my back. Things will flow exactly how they're supposed to. I won't miss opportunities that are meant for me. All of those things, take whatever of those lines work for you.
I'm right on time. I'm right on time. I mean,
yes.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And if those words and lines bring you peace, enjoy it.
Great. Yes.
Enjoy it. Because, I mean, we don't know what the ending looks like. It could be tomorrow. It could be when I close this off and something weird happens. Like, you just don't know. So just live from the heart, live in your truth, and be good to people.
I love that. You're amazing. What's your mantra for the day?
I am grateful. It was this morning and it still is. And I've seen a couple little signals from the universe saying, yes.
Yeah.
I am grateful, like, for everything, for me, for being me, for opportunities, for talking to you, for Kundalini, for everything. For everything I put action into, and then somehow it manifested into something beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Love that. Love you. Thanks for the chat today. You're incredible.
Thank you, Brooke. I love you too.